Deepfakes and synthetic identity fraud, the new frontier of AI crime. Today, we step into one of the most unsettling yet most important chapters of modern cybersecurity. A chapter where artificial intelligence does not simply automate tasks. It impersonates us, it steals our faces, our voices, our presence, our trust. This world of deepfakes and synthetic identities is not tomorrow's threat. It is here, right now, reshaping crime in ways we have never seen before. What began as harmless entertainment, fun filters, celebrity face swaps, playful audio mimics, has transformed into a multi-billion-dollar criminal industry operating at a scale so large and so fast that traditional security controls simply cannot keep up. Think about this. Between 2022 and 2024, global deepfake-enabled fraud losses increased by 1,740%, surpassing $5.2 billion worldwide. This is not a glitch in the system. This is a new ecosystem of cybercrime. Criminal groups now run deepfake-as-a-service, just like cloud platforms. But for identity theft, impersonation, financial fraud, and executive deception, anyone sitting anywhere with a few dollars and minimal skills can generate a synthetic human that looks real, sounds real, and behaves real. And as you hear this session today, I want you to imagine, how would your team respond if your CFO, your CEO, or your senior leader appeared on a video call, looked authentic, sounded exactly right, and instructed a critical transfer? But it wasn't them. This is the psychological battlefield. Deepfakes don't break into systems. They break into humans, into trust, into emotion, into instinct. And that's why this session matters, not just as knowledge, but as organizational survival. Today, we begin the journey into the heart of AI-powered deception. And together, we learn how to detect it, diffuse it, and defend our enterprises with confidence. Welcome to episode 6 of AISec. Welcome to the new frontier of AI crime. Do not miss to like this channel to get high-value videos. Hit bell as well to get notification to get latest videos alerts. The rise of deepfake criminal networks. Deepfake crime didn't appear overnight. It evolved quietly, strategically, almost invisibly. In 2018, this technology was a toy: filters, entertainment, harmless curiosity. In 2020, it became a tool for experimentation. Voice cloning started appearing in social engineering attempts. Nothing too sophisticated, but enough to make security teams uncomfortable. But then, between 2022 and 2024, everything changed. Deepfake-as-a-service platforms exploded on the dark web. Criminals weren't experimenting anymore. They were industrializing, standardizing, scaling. We saw deepfake call centers. We saw fraud syndicates with dedicated teams for voice cloning, image generation, synthetic document creation, and real-time video manipulation. Imagine a fraud factory where every employee has one role: imitate someone, fool someone, steal from someone. By 2024, deepfake crime reached industrial scale. Enterprises faced attacks that were coordinated, rehearsed, and executed with military precision. Real-time deepfake video calls targeting finance teams, synthetic KYC bypass attempts, fake employees entering organizations, fake vendors fooling procurement teams. Criminal networks realized something powerful. Why hack a system when you can hack a human? And the truth is, we are incredibly easy to hack because we trust what we see, we trust what we hear, we trust authority, and deepfakes exploit all three. This rise isn't slowing down, it's accelerating, and unless organizations evolve, unless leaders understand the psychology behind these attacks, unless we create verification cultures, the perfect storm will continue. This slide is not history, it's a warning for what the next 12 months will bring. What deepfakes are: the technology behind digital deception. Behind every deepfake, behind every synthetic identity, there is a highly intelligent machine trained to imitate humanity with frightening accuracy. Let's begin with faces. Generative adversarial networks, GANs, are designed to learn every possible detail of the human face, every contour, every blink, every micro expression, every light reflection. They study thousands of images until they can generate a face that never existed, yet feels more real than reality. They can swap faces in video, modify expressions, change emotions, age someone, or reverse aging all in seconds now. Let's talk about voices. With just 3 to 10 seconds of audio, AI can clone your voice, your tone, your accent, your breathing pattern, your emotional rhythm. It can make you speak languages you have never spoken. It can make you sound angry, calm, urgent, helpless, whatever the attacker needs to manipulate someone on the other side. This used to require advanced computing. Now, someone with a laptop and basic tools can do it. And that is the threat: democratized deception. Deepfakes scale faster than cybersecurity. They improve faster than detection. They learn faster than humans can adapt. The technology isn't inherently evil, but in the wrong hands, it becomes the perfect weapon not for breaking systems, but for breaking trust. And in the modern enterprise, trust is the ultimate vulnerability. Synthetic identity fraud, building ghosts in the machine. Now, imagine a person who does not exist. No heartbeat, no fingerprints, no home, no family, but a perfect digital life. This is synthetic identity fraud, a ghost in the machine, carefully constructed by criminals using a mix of stolen data, fabricated AI-generated data, and artificially created faces and voices. It begins with data acquisition, a real SSN stolen from a breach, combined with a synthetic name, a synthetic face, and a synthetic address. Then comes identity cultivation, fake social media profiles, AI-generated selfies, consistent posting patterns, digital footprints that feel real. Next is verification gaming. Deepfake video used for remote KYC, synthetic voice for phone authentication, AI-generated documents that pass visual checks, and finally, exploitation, opening bank accounts, applying for loans, running fraudulent businesses, accessing restricted systems, and disappearing without a trace. Traditional controls fail because synthetic identities are perfectly designed to bypass them. They behave like real people, but they cost criminals nothing to abandon. They don't need to steal your identity anymore. They can simply create a new one, better than yours, cleaner than yours, and completely untraceable. This is not identity theft. This is identity manufacturing, and it is one of the fastest growing cyber crimes in the world today. Real incident: the $25 million deepfake CFO heist. This incident changed everything. A finance employee in a global corporation attended what he believed was a normal video call with his CFO and 6 senior colleagues. The faces looked real. The voices were perfect. The background environment felt natural. There was conversation, movement, emotion. Nothing felt off. During the call, the CFO urgently requested a $25 million wire transfer for a confidential acquisition. The employee complied, because why wouldn't he? He saw the CFO, he heard the CFO, he watched the CFO speak, blink, shift posture, even react to colleagues, except none of them were real. It was a fully orchestrated real-time deepfake video call. 7 synthetic executives, all interacting live, all generated by criminals using stolen video and audio from public events. This was not a pre-recorded scam. This was AI operating in real time, responding to questions, mimicking emotions, handling unexpected interactions like a human. Imagine the psychological impact, because in a video call, our brains automatically trust what we see. This attack exposed a devastating truth. Video is no longer proof. Audio is no longer proof. Appearance is no longer proof. And if organizations don't shift their verification culture, these attacks will continue and grow and evolve. This case isn't an anomaly. It is a preview of the next era of cybercrime. Real incident, voice cloning, wire transfer fraud. Picture this moment. A CEO sits in his office, focused, calm, when he receives a call from the global chief executive of their parent company. The voice is unmistakable. The familiar German accent, the tone, the slight impatience he always has during urgent matters. Everything feels authentic. The message is simple, yet urgent. We need to process a confidential payment immediately. A wire transfer of £220,000 to a European supplier tied to a sensitive acquisition. No time for delays, no time for discussion. The CEO approves the transfer because he trusts the voice, he trusts the relationship, he trusts the urgency. But the truth is chilling. The entire conversation, every word, every emotion, every pause was artificially generated. Criminals cloned the executive's voice using 17 seconds of publicly available audio. 17 seconds, that's all. The AI generated call lasted 4 minutes. 4 minutes. To create a moment of trust, a moment of pressure, a moment of confidence that resulted in a six-figure fraud and funds that were gone within hours. This incident is more than a warning. It is a psychological lesson because voice is deeply personal. It carries emotion, rhythm, familiarity. We trust voices from our leaders more than anything else in remote communication, and attackers know this. They study our calls, our speeches, our conferences, our podcasts, our social media videos. They train models that don't just copy sound, they copy identity. This incident taught the cybersecurity world a painful truth. Voice can no longer be trusted on its own urgency, can no longer be taken at face value. Authority can no longer bypass verification. The cost of a mistake is not just financial, it's cultural. It can shake confidence, break trust, and leave organizations emotionally shaken long after the funds disappear. This is why deepfake defense isn't a technical project. It is a human protection program. Why deepfakes are hard to detect. The human vulnerability. Deepfakes are powerful, not just because the technology is advanced, but because human psychology is predictable. Our minds are wired from thousands of years of evolution to trust sight and sound. When we see a face, our brain says, "This is real." When we hear a voice, our brain says, "This is familiar." But deepfakes break this instinct, they exploit it. Let's start with authority bias. When a senior executive makes a request, our natural reaction is to comply. We don't challenge authority, especially when urgency and responsibility collide. Then there is confirmation bias. If the request aligns with something plausible, a confidential deal, a time-sensitive payment, a security review, our brain fills in the gaps and ignores small inconsistencies. We also have technological trust. If someone joins a Zoom or Teams call, we assume the platform has verified them. We forget that video presence is not identity. And most importantly, our perceptual limitations. Today's deepfakes operate at 60 frames per second, with perfect lip sync, perfect lighting, perfect eye movement, and micro expressions that only high-end neural models can produce. The uncanny valley has vanished. We no longer get that something feels off signal. This is why even trained professionals, security analysts, fraud investigators, C-suite leaders fall for deepfakes, not because they are careless, but because their brains are doing exactly what they evolved to do. Trust the senses. Deepfakes don't exploit technology, they exploit humans. Our instinctive trust, our cognitive patterns, our emotional responses, our social conditioning. This is why deepfake defense must include psychology, training, culture, and mindset, not just detection tools, because the true vulnerability is not the system, it is the human behind the system. Enterprise threat landscape, 7 attack vectors. Enterprises today are not fighting one deepfake threat, they are fighting 7. Each attack vector is designed to exploit a different weakness. a different workflow, a different decision-making pattern. Let's walk through them. First, voice impersonation. This is the fastest growing attack. A cloned executive voice calls finance, requests a payment, and the fraud happens within minutes. Second, video conference fraud. Real-time deepfake video calls that impersonate leaders. This is the highest psychological impact because we trust what we see. Third, synthetic KYC bypass. Attackers generate deepfake videos, fake documents, and fabricated selfies to open new accounts and infiltrate systems that rely on remote onboarding. Fourth, corporate espionage. Deepfake personas infiltrate organizations. Fake employees join teams, attend calls, collect intelligence, and influence decisions. Fifth, investment fraud. Fake CEO announcements, AI-generated endorsements, synthetic investor communications, all used to manipulate markets. Sixth, reputational attacks. Seventh, access control, bypass deepfake, faces and voices defeat, biometric authentication, Face ID, Voice ID, selfie-based verification, all now vulnerable. Each of these attack vectors represents billions of dollars in cumulative exposure. But more importantly, they represent cracks in our trust system, our verification process, our executive culture, our communication rituals. This is not a technical threat landscape. This is a human trust threat landscape, and organizations that fail to understand these 7 attack vectors walk blind into the next era of cyber deception. But when we understand them, we gain power, we gain clarity, we gain the ability to architect real defense. Because awareness is not just knowledge, it is armor. ISO 42001, mapping, AI, misuse, and trust controls. ISO 42001, the world's first AI management system standard, gives us something we desperately need in this era of deepfake crime: a structured way to build trust. Deepfake defense is not just about tools, it is about governance, documentation, human oversight, transparency, accountability, and ISO 42001 draws the blueprint. It begins with AI system inventory and classification. Organizations must document every AI system that touches identity, verification, authentication, or executive communication, because you cannot secure what you do not know exists. Next, AI risk assessment. This is where adversarial threat modeling becomes essential. We evaluate where synthetic media attacks can infiltrate, the probability of deepfake exploitation, and the business impact if defenses fail. Then comes transparency and explainability. Detection tools must provide clear reasons when they flag something as deepfake. Investigators need to understand the why behind every alert to build credible, defensible decisions. And finally, human oversight. High-risk transactions cannot rely solely on AI authentication. There must be a human in the loop, a human to challenge, verify, and confirm. ISO 42001 is not just a checklist. It is a trust framework, a governance backbone, a way to ensure that AI does not become a blind spot, but a managed, controlled, and audited part of enterprise security. Organizations that adopt ISO 42001 early will have a competitive advantage. They will inspire stakeholder trust, regulatory confidence, and operational resilience. And in the age of deepfakes, trust is currency, trust is power, trust is survival. NIST AI Risk Management Framework, Govern and Protect. NIST gives us something equally powerful: a practical framework to turn deepfake defense into real operational security. The govern function begins with accountability. Someone must own deepfake defense. CISOs, fraud teams, communications heads must work together with clear roles and responsibilities. Policies must explicitly prohibit unauthorized AI impersonation. Budgets must support detection tools, training, and simulation exercises. Incident response plans must include synthetic media scenarios. Governance is not theory, it is action. Then comes the protect function. This is where the real battle happens. We begin by identifying systems vulnerable to deepfakes, video conferencing, authentication workflows, voice verification systems, customer onboarding environments. Next, we deploy detection capabilities, not just one tool, but layered tools that analyze audio, video, and behavioral patterns. And we then strengthen authentication, moving away from static biometrics toward hardware tokens and challenge response protocols that deepfakes cannot replicate. And finally, we run red team exercises, simulating deepfake social engineering attacks, challenging teams, testing workflows, revealing gaps. The NIST AI RMF is not academic, it is battle tested guidance. It translates AI risk into steps, into controls, into muscle memory. Because deepfake defense is not something we install, it is something we practice, something we govern, something we repeat until it becomes culture. With ISO 42001 and NIST AI RMF working together, enterprises gain a dual advantage: strategic governance and operational protection. And in this evolving threat landscape, that combination is priceless.